Hello everyone, this is Kiran and today we are going to learn about locators in Selenium. So if you want to actually access the web elements inside a web page using Selenium, we have to learn how to automate them, how to reach to that particular address or the target. So for that, let's first learn how many different web elements, how many kinds of web elements are present on any web page. Let's say we'll go to a web page or an HRM page, let's say. Okay, now we can see different types of elements here. So this is a input box. So this is a input box. There is another button which is login. Login is a button type of web element. We have drop downs in our web pages. We have checkboxes, radio buttons. So we have various kinds of web elements and we have to learn how to automate them one by one. But before learning how to automate different kinds of web elements, we have to first understand how many different types of locators are there. How do we actually find out the unique address of any web element on the DOM? Now the automation is all about finding any unique address and then performing any action onto them. So imagine I want to send you a postal, I want to send you a letter onto your postal address. I need to know your exact address, right? I need to know your city, your street number, your apartment name, your floor number, your door number. So your address and your neighbor's address cannot be exactly same. They can be similar, but there will be a difference of the door number or maybe the floor number or the apartment number. So you and your neighbor cannot have the same address. Similarly, all the elements in a web page are having different addresses. So to find out the address uniquely and perfectly is very important in any automation tool. So this is a web page which is having various kinds of web elements. I will list the web elements which is only used. Here we go. So we'll go and so we can see we have text boxes, we have links on any web page. We have text, not just text box, text also. So example, this is a text. Login is just a text, right? Then we have links. Links are any element which when we click leads us to a different page. Let's see. There are links on the web pages too, like can we see there's a hand tool on orange.hrm.inc. When I click on this, it will land me to another page. So links can are different types of web elements. We have to just right click and inspect. I can see that it is having a hyper reference. So it highlighted, see, href, it means it is a hyper reference, and the link text is this one which is visible on the page, and it is also inside an anchor tag, a tag. So all links will be inside anchor tags only. So that is a link text. Then we have drop downs, check boxes, which you can see on another web page. So if I just log in, I can show you different more web elements. So if you go back to the notes, we have text boxes where we actually input values. Then we have buttons. Login was the button. Radio buttons are, I'll just check and see if we have something here. Now let's go to some section, then we can find that out. Let's go and fill in some forms. So forms usually have checkboxes, drop downs and everything. So this is a drop down, if you can see here. So in drop downs, we have to use select methods for selecting any of the options available. So this is drop down. These are normal buttons. Then these are checkboxes where you can select one or more options. So these are checkboxes. Now we have something called radio button 2. I can try and find that out. Just a second. We'll go to some other section, which is leave section, let's say. So we have checkboxes, apply. no problem. So I can show you radio button in the Rediff mail login page. Here this is a sign up page for Rediff mail. Here we can see radio button option. In the gender we have male and female. Radio buttons are usually those buttons which can only allow you to select one option. So that is radio button. Drop down we have check boxes, we have input boxes. So all these are web elements of different types. Okay, auto suggestion boxes, search boxes, image links. So links, images which are links. When you click on those images, it will land you to another page. So those are also different types of web element. So we have to know how to automate all of these, but at the same time let's first focus on the locators, different kind of locators on Selenium. So for that what we'll do will be actually starting a new program so that we can fresh understand in a different page altogether, not to confuse you with what we have already learned. So I'll go inside the Selenium demo, then the package, and then here. So inside I can right click on the package name and I can create a different class now. New class. Let's name it as a locator demo or something. Okay. So class name has to be capitals with capitals. So like a locator demo. I'll just finish it off. And what I'll do, I'll start coding. So public static void main. So I have to start the main class, main method, sorry. Just a second. Okay. Now inside the main method, we will open a URL so that we can actually access different locators. Here we go. So we can directly initiate the web browser. So Webdriver driver is equals to new Chrome driver. And we can start, driver.get. Okay, so till here I think there's no confusion. We have already done in the last class. Driver.get. So we can get any website. We can directly pass the URL here. So let's pass this orange HRM URL. Here we go. Control C. No, we'll pass the login URL so that let's log out here first. Okay, let's pass this URL, Control C. We'll go to the code and pass it here. Till here I think there's no confusion. We just need to import some of the libraries. We'll do it quickly. Extra. So till here I think there's no confusion. Now let's go and try, after the browser is open, after the address is open, we can go and try to locate any element on the web page. Let's say we have this username. So this username box, text box, can be located using multiple ways. So that's what we are going to learn today. Yeah, so let's pass this URL here, Rediff mail create account URL, Control C, and we'll go back to the code and paste it here as the string. So this is the get method. It will fetch the URL, and after that we can do driver dot find element is a method which is used to find elements. It has parameter by dot, so we have to use class name now. So we'll be using class name as the locator. So we have to pass the class name. Now which element we want to find out, let me show you that. So in this page we have to find out, let's say create my account buttons. We want to click this. Okay, so just to right click, inspect, the DOM will open. In that we can see different attributes for that particular element. So this is the element. It is having tag as input type. Usually it should have been button for button, but anyways it's fine. Type is equals to submit. It is one of the attributes. ID is the attribute, name is the attribute, value is the attribute. Similarly so name is also there, so just submit button. So this is the class name. We'll just copy it from here. Always copy paste, don't write it yourself, because a slight hyphen or space can create a difference. So submit button is the class name. I'll copy it and I'll write class name and double quotes, pass the class name. And then what operation I want to do here is maybe click on it. So I want to do it. So I can just do a sysout here also to print the test cases passed. Okay. So I've done a sysout of test case pass. So majorly what I'm doing, I'm trying to get a URL and then I'm just finding out an element using class name. I'm clicking on it and then test case pass. So let's run this code and see if it's working fine. So the browser will open, the URL will open. Then it will go to the button and it will click on it, and we can see the button went gray in the console and the test case passed has happened. Actually, we should have a habit of writing driver.close all the time, so that the browser which opens as a part of the automation execution closes itself. Okay, so this is a, so we can just comment it here. So we are locator, testing locator class name. Okay, so we can check using other attributes also. So let's go back to PPT. Let's see what all other locators are there. So the locators are ID, name. So let's use a class name we have done. We'll see Css selector in a while. So ID, name, linkText, partialLinkText. Let's do all of them. So let's use ID and C. Okay. Now we'll go back. Let me close this window which got open as a part of the execution. So let's go and select full name. Okay. So just let's do right click, inspect. We'll see if it has ID attribute. It has type attribute, on blur, name, value, maximum length. It is not having ID, so we cannot use it. So let's check another element also if we have ID or not. So we'll check another element. So it's not there. So we can check the same button also, which we did for class name, and we'll see if it has, yes, it is having an ID, which is the name of the ID is register. So we can use this ID to click on it. Okay, so we can see some other elements if we want to actually. So let's say we want to see the password. Okay, so in the password, ID is there. Yes, there is ID, which is new password. So let's write password. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go to the code. I will write, I'll comment first as testing locator ID. Okay, now so driver.find element by same element, then by locator, dot id. This time we'll have to write id, and then value of the id, and then some operation you have to perform on it. So let's say I want to send keys. I want to pass the value of the password. Okay, so let's write some junk password for now, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so I'm just passing the value of the password, and the id name, the value of id is, we have to copy it from here, this one. I'll just make it big for you. So this is the one, new password. I'm just copying, I'm not writing myself. That's a good habit. So I have to just pass inside a string. So new password, this is the value of the this attribute id. So it will be passing the password onto that particular web element. So now we can use another one also and check. We'll execute at one go so that you can see. Let's use name. Let's use name. So we'll go back to the web page. Let's use full name. So is it having name attribute? Yes, it is having name attribute. The value of the name is this. Okay, I'm just copying it from here, and I will just write it for the time being. I'll copy this part, Control C. Let's say Control V, testing locator name. Okay, and driver.find element by I. Instead of id, I should write name, and the name is this. I copied, Control V, and I want to send keys. What is my name? My name is, full name is this. Okay, so I'm just passing it. So that is the third locator. Let's run this program and see the usages of all these three locators at least. Okay, so it's running. So the Chrome browser will open the URL. Yeah. Okay. So there's some error which I have got. Let us find out the error. So what happens, we'll go back to the console and we'll scroll up and try to see no such element exception. The no such element exception arises when the code is not able to find any element which you have written there. So we have to find out which line of code has thrown error. So we can see here line number 18. So line number 18 has thrown this error. So there's no such element like having named this. Okay, so we have to quickly go and check what is the problem. So we'll go back to this. So this was the one, right? So I'll just do right click, inspect, and let me refresh the page once to see if the value of the attribute is changing. Okay, so I'll do click on the full name and right click, inspect, and you can see, yes, this value of this attribute is dynamically changing. So this is not a good idea to use name here for this one. We can use it for another one, that's fine. I'll refresh it again to check the value of this particular name is changing or not. So yeah, this name is always changing. So what we can do, we can use this check availability button. Let's see, check availability. Is it having some name? Okay, this is also it looks like it's a random name which can change. So let's go to mobile number field and just right click and inspect and check if it is having name attribute to show you. Okay, so I'll just refresh it to see if it's changing. Okay, 8970. So we'll just refresh it one more time to see that whether the name is changing or not. Okay, so mobile number, yeah, this name is also not constant. So I can just use the same button which I have used here so that Yeah, these are all dynamic names which has been kept, which are changing. So I think using name for this website is not a good idea. So it's all the names are changing dynamically. Okay, so we can use a name for static names which are not changing as per the when we're refreshing it. So what we can do is we can take another web element. Let's see if it is having some name. Yeah, all names are here dynamic. Okay, we'll use the name attribute, name locator for another page to see that. Okay, so let's we can write it in another code, that's fine. Okay, so for now let's run till, I'll just comment this part, control question mark, and we'll see it for ID and class name. Let me run the code. Okay, so it's running. Okay, so we can see that it's still running. Now again there is an error which we can see here. So line number 27, so it says that driver dot, okay, no, let's read the error and try to find out what is the error. Unhandled alert exception, so I can't see any alert popping up. Okay, just a second, let me run the code again. So this is exceptions which occur. So we have to learn exception handling for that. So we'll do it. For now, let me check what is the problem. So Chrome browser has started successfully. It will open. Okay, so we can see that there is some alert which is coming, right? So because of which the code is failing. So now when we manually do when we manually check that, when we don't fill in any full name, we just pass on the password and click on the button, we get a pop-up. So we have to handle this pop-up actually. That's why we are getting that error in our console. So we have to handle this. So for handling pop-up, we have to write this pop-up handling will be taken will be explained in a different session altogether, but for now let me quickly write and handle the pop-up. Driver dot switch to alert, switch to dot alert. So I'll explain this later on, but for now I have to handle it, and I'll have to actually accept it. That means clicking on OK. Accept means clicking on OK for the pop-up. Now I'll just run this code. Let's not close the browser now. So let me run this code and see if this is working fine. So ID and class name we are checking. Right click. So the Chrome browser will open. And then it will yes, so you can see that the test case has passed with successful testing of locator ID and locator class name. Now let's go and check some locators like linkText and partialLinkText. Okay, so for doing that, let me just close all the browsers which got opened as a part of the execution. So linkText and partialLinkText can be checked. Give me yeah, this terms and conditions is a link, right? So when you click on it, it will be leading me to some other pop-up or some other page. So terms and condition is a link. There can be more links on the page. Let's click on terms and condition only. Just let me do a right click inspect. So when you do a inspect of any link text, you will get it as an hyper reference. You'll get it as href, you can see, and also inside a anchor tag. Now the link text is this one. Whatever text is visible on the page is the link text. Okay, so we'll just copy it. And how do we click on it? So you have to go to the code. So after the pop-up has been accepted, we'll do it. So what we have to do, let me just write the link text here for the time being. Now driver dot find element by dot link text. So link text needs to pass on a string. So this is the link text, so I'll pass on this, Control X. Okay, so we have passed the link text. We have to click on that particular element. So that's how we'll be doing link text. We'll be clicking on any link on the page using link text. Now let me run this and then I'll explain what is partial link text. Okay. So it's opening the browser, Chrome browser. Now let it open successfully. Now it will password, it will pass, handle the pop-up, and it has clicked on terms and condition. So test case pass, everything is working fine. Now what is partial link text? Let's say I want to click on terms and condition, but I don't want to write full terms and condition, only terms I want to write. So that is also possible in Selenium. So driver.find element by partial link text this time. So let me just write the method click. Now instead of link text, you have to write by dot partial link text, by dot partial link text, and you have to pass the text. So let's say you want to pass only condition or only terms, that is also possible. Half link. So let's not click using link text, let's only use partial link text and see if it is clicking or not. Now let me run this code for you again. Okay, so it's opening browser, the URL. So it clicked using partial link text also, right? So you can see here partial link text. Yeah, so I think we are done with ID. Class name we have done, ID we have done, a name we didn't do here in this page, we'll do it in some other page. Link text we have done, partial link text we have done. By tag name we can do usually whatever tags are there. Let's say here the tag is anchor tag, but it's not a good practice to use tag names because the tag names can be very repetitive. If it's unique, it's fine. So tag name is also one of the locators. And then xpath. So we'll talk about xpath in the next session. Right now let's see Css selector, which is left. Rest everything is done. Okay, so just a second. Okay, before doing that, we saw that the link text, the clicking on of the link is opening another window also, right? So let's see the usage of driver.quit. You remember I told you that when we use driver.quit, the windows which are open, multiple windows which are open as a part of the automation will all be closed. So driver.close is closing the current window which you have already seen, but driver.quit will actually close both the windows which got open as a part of the automation. So let's quickly run this and see if it is able to close both windows or not. So Just let me quickly run this code for you. Yeah. So Chrome driver is opening. Yeah. So both windows which got open as a part of the automation got closed. So that is the use of driver.quit. So that is also done. Now let's move forward. Now let's see how to use CSS selectors as our locators. Now for CSS selectors, we have to understand what CSS is. So CSS is the full form of CSS is cascading style sheet, and it is used to display the HTML in a more decorative format and more colorful styles, so that the web page is more vibrant. So CSS is cascading style sheet, and the CSS selector is a combination of an element selector and a selector value. Now, what is the meaning of combination of element selector and selector value? We can use CSS selector to locate element using by ID by class. So ID is represented by hash and class is represented by dot here. So, or name or any other attribute actually. So what happens, the tag name, then hash, and then the value of the attribute. So this can be better understood with this diagram. So let's say we want to locate something by ID, and the HTML of that page of that web element looks like this. It has attributes like class, and the tag name is input, and then ID, and all these attributes are present. Now the syntax is tag hash ID or hash ID. An example is tag is input, hash is hash, ID is lst-ib, whatever. So this is the ID. So that is written. And used in Java command, we'll be using it driver.findElement by CSS selector, and then this whole locator will be written there. Similarly, if you want to locate it by name or any other attribute, so if you want to do that, so let's say there's an HTML page which is again having the same attributes. Input is the tag name, class is equals to something, ID equals to something, and so on. So the syntax of CSS selector will be tag name, attribute is equals to value of attribute, right? So tag name here is input, attribute is, if you want to use class, so if you want to use class, then class is equals to instead of class we'll use dot and then the class name. If you're using name, then name is equals to q. So if we are using it in the Java program, it will be like driver.findElement by CSS selector, name equals to q. So that is how CSS selectors can be used in Selenium, and this is yet another locator which is available. So we have seen class name, CSS selector, ID, linkText, name, partial linkText, and tag name. XPath will be doing in the next session. So this is all about the different types of locators, except the XPath part we'll have to do it. And till then, thank you. We'll meet in the next session and we'll talk about XPaths.